Whew! Science is cool when you know how to use it. Hi there, welcome to SciSky. The topic of today's video is oxidation. Oxidation is an ever-present reaction in nature, and we can actually learn a lot from it about the universe around us. We can also maybe use it to our advantage, so stick around until the end of the video for some hot science. Now, oxidation is actually kind of a general term, but in today's video specifically, I'm going to be talking about how an oxidizer and a fuel or a reactant come together to form a new substance or several molecules. So today we're going to be doing some chemical reactions, and to take some safety precautions before we do this, you'll notice I am wearing a lab coat just to protect my clothing. I also have a pair of safety glasses, which you'll definitely need, and also some rubber gloves. So the reason I have these is just to protect my body. I don't want anything to damage my skin or my eyes or my clothes. And if you are doing this, make sure you have these. You don't want anything bad to happen to yourself or the space around you. And if you are underage, if you're a child, make sure you have your parents' supervision while doing all of this and their permission as well. So with that said, let's jump into the first oxidation reaction. All right, now the first oxidation reaction that we're going to look at is actually very common. It occurs a lot on the Earth and on some other planets. It's actually known as rust. So the reason I have metal tools here is just to show that after years of being exposed to oxygen in the atmosphere, the iron or the steel on these tools actually turns into iron oxide. So if you can see, it might be hard to see on the camera, but you can see some hues of red and orange scattered around these tools. And it collects over the maybe 20 years that my father has had these tools. And now in different spots you can see the reddish orange. So this is a very common reaction. You can see it all over the place. It occurs on the underside of cars. Today we're going to be making metal rust. So we're going to be using iron or steel because it just reacts the fastest with the oxygen in the atmosphere. So all we need for this is very simple. We just need some metal scraps. So here I have an old soup can, which is iron or steel actually, and just some other pieces of metal. So all we have to do is sit here and wait for them to react with the oxygen around us, and we'll eventually start to see some rust. So I'll do a little time lapse and then we'll look at them once they've collected some rust. Actually, on second thought, this is probably going to take too long. So let's speed up the process. Okay, so now we have different chemicals and it's time to put on safety glasses. So I have in front of me a tub of hydrogen peroxide, which is a very common antiseptic agent. I also have some vinegar here. It's apple cider vinegar. I guess it doesn't really matter as long as it's acetic acid. And I also have some salt. So basically these two are going to combine to be the oxidizer. The iron and steel will be the fuel, and together that will cause oxidation. The salt is kind of a catalyst. It speeds up the reaction. I also have some sandpaper because I'm going to sand down these pieces of metal because they will oxidize faster. And you also need a container to mix everything in. So right now I'm going to sand these down and I'll be right back. Okay, great. So now that these are sanded down, they have more surface area to collect the rust. And now we're going to make our mix in here. So the proportions are very important that you get this right. So it's basically just like maybe that much hydrogen peroxide. Looks pretty good to me. And maybe also like that much vinegar. Yeah, looks great. And now we add a little bit of salt. So this salt is going to help it mix, and we want it to completely dissolve so it can speed up the process. Okay, so I mixed some salt in there, close enough. I'm being funny about this, but actually the amounts that you have don't really matter as long as you create some peracetic acid, which is the combination of acetic acid, vinegar, and hydrogen peroxide. So I'm just going to take a wooden spoon here, or a piece of old wood, and mix this together. We want the salt to completely dissolve, and once we have that... Oh, I should be wearing my gloves, huh? Geez, I even gave the safety talk before we started. Okay, apologies. So now that you have your gloves on, feel free to mix up the liquid we have here. And once we get it to a good amount, it should be pretty much ready to go. So all we have to do is take our metal and throw them into the bath. So there we go. I want this bottom side to rest because it's clean to see. So throw those in there. It should be covered. But once we have this in there, it will take a few minutes to, however long you want really. The longer you leave them in there, the rustier they will get. You will actually see bubbles form, and so this is the gases being released. The process of rust is actually exothermic, which means it lets out energy. It actually warms up the water a little bit. Kind of a cool fact. Okay, so the next oxidation reaction I want to highlight is very common as well. It's called fire. So fire is a case of oxidation. It is more exothermic than rust, so by that I mean it releases much more energy, and that's why you are warmed and illuminated by a fire. But it is the same fundamental concept. The carbon in this piece of cardboard or a piece of wood that you're burning combines with oxygen from the atmosphere, the same oxygen that we breathe, and it produces heat, light, and carbon dioxide, maybe some carbon monoxide as well as other gases. And so that's the process in a nutshell. I'm going to demonstrate the process of fire. And I just want to note, do not light fires inside. Regardless of what I do, don't light fires inside. So here is the process. Carbon and oxygen coming together, oxidation reaction. Cool. Okay. And now for the final oxidation reaction I would like to show today, I have before you rocket fuel. So to make this, I took 65 grams of potassium nitrate, which is an oxidizer in this case, and sugar, which will act as the fuel, 35 grams of sugar. And I also have a bonus ingredient just to make it more entertaining, I'll say. So for this reaction, we're gonna need to go outside. So let's go. Okay, well, it's windy and cold outside, so I'm gonna do this quickly, but basically I've made a pile of the mixture, and then I'm gonna light this off and run away while it basically explodes. So once again, I said it before, but please exercise safety in this. It's just snowed, so everything's wet, but also I have safety precautions as well, and others are around. So as I said before, please use safety if you are going to try this, but don't try it at all to be safest. Okay, let's go. Woo! Woo! Science is cool when you know how to use it. Okay, well, that was fun. So let's review what happened there. We had a fuel, which was the sugar, and we had an oxidizer, which was the potassium nitrate. And when they were ignited with a spark, they reacted. They oxidized, actually. So oxidation can be used to do some pretty crazy things. Some things slow, such as the rust, and some things very fast. Now that same reaction that I did with the rocket fuel, that was a form of solid rocket fuel. But modern rockets use the same oxidation reaction with a fuel and an oxidizer. When you put them together and you point them to the ground with a rocket above you, that's how you get to space. So oxidation is crazy important to the future, and I hope this video hopefully made you understand it a little bit better. So before we go, let's take a look at the rust. Okay, so I have a paper towel here that we're going to place it on, but you can see the liquid is very disgusting looking. So first off, you'll notice that there's pretty much nothing on this soup can. And I don't know exactly why that is, but my guess is that it has a protective coating that takes more time to get through for the mixture to eat away at. So I could let this sit for longer, maybe even overnight, and it would eventually rust. But it does have a protective coating, so this is an important thing that we do these days to protect metal that we don't want to rust. And I'm going to dump this out into this disgusting mix of rust juice. Ugh. Oh, that was weird. Huh, that's actually funny. So I guess some gas formed. I let this sit for maybe a day or two, and I guess some gas formed, so it was pressurized inside. Neat. Okay, so take a look at these. These look crazy good. So this is the nut, and you can see it is just coated in the rust mixture. So that's a great example of what this mixture can do to rust things. And the bolt or the screw here also very rusty. So please make sure you have gloves on, because this can get all over your skin. It's disgusting. And so that's it for this video. From rust to rockets, oxidation is pretty cool, and we can use science to understand and use it to our advantage. So I hope you learned something about oxidation in this video, and I look forward to seeing your reaction in the comments below. Remember to subscribe for more videos like this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And remember, be curious.